John, I want to ask you, is there a trade target for the Yankees you've heard that really isn't being talked about much and you think could really be an option that maybe more people should be pushing?
Well, I'll say this. I think a team to watch very carefully, and I don't have it confirmed that there's been a conversation or an inquiry, but this is something to watch here going forward, is the potential of a deal with the Twins. And the reason why is the Twins, I think they have their players grouped in basically two areas. It's the guys who are pending free agents, one of whom is Harrison Bader, who I don't think is necessarily going to be coming back to the Yankees at this moment in time. But Bader is likely to be available. They have some bullpen guys that could move. And they also have a very interesting starting pitcher in Joe Ryan. I don't think that Joe Ryan will get traded this month. I really don't. However, if you were to think about the type of team and farm system that could overwhelm the Twins with an offer for Joe Ryan, it would be the Yankees with a player like Spencer Jones or George Lombard Jr., for example. And I think it's important with Lombard, and I love Lombard, to remember that he's 20. He just got to Double-A, and he's hitting around 200. So you've got to give him some time. We have to remember that you've got someone in Volpe who basically did step-by-step very similar things to what Lombard is doing now. And Volpe is struggling right now. Now, that doesn't mean that Lombard's going to struggle in the same way, but we have to remember that we can't fall victim to the notion of the backup quarterback always being better than the starter. You gotta let him take some time here and not rush George to the major leagues.
John, I'm definitely curious because right now I think the Yankees' biggest problem is their volatility in their bullpen. And that's been a huge problem. We're seeing guys like Ian Hamilton, Jonathan Loaizaga, and obviously the Yankees had high hopes for this player, and he pitched today, and it didn't necessarily go well. It's not much of a surprise to Yankees fans. How aggressive, and as far as we just had a title for one of our videos, is how many names do the Yankees need to bring in here? How many names do you think are realistic that we can say, okay, maybe if you can go get a Duran, right? How many names? Do you think the Yankees are looking at 2 or 3 relievers, or do you think they're looking to maybe bring in one guy they trust?
Well, Gary, as you were asking the question, the number popped into my mind of 2. Now, 3 would be, that's almost changing out half of your bullpen pieces in one day or one deadline, which is kind of hard to do. It's been done before, but that's a lot of turnover at one deadline. I think 2.
That's an overhaul.
Yeah, it is. 2 is reasonable, and I also think is fair to expect. You just mentioned Yohan Duran with the Twins. I think Varland could be an upgrade there. Griffin Jacks. Again, the price tag on some of these guys, especially those with more control, will be higher. Danny Coulomb, I think, with the Twins is a bit more readily available, you could say. But there are a number of teams, even those that have ugly records right now, and that would include the Rockies with someone like a Jimmy Herget. I think he's an option and a possibility. The Marlins have some bullpen pieces they could move, but a lot of teams need bullpen. The other thing I'll say on behalf of the relievers, because I agree it's been a weakness and it's fair to point it out, the other thing is that the rotation hasn't exactly been going a CC Sabathia 8-inning start every time out.
That's right.
And again, not that you're expecting Schlitter or Stroman to do that. Obviously, the last start out for Fried previous to his start coming up Wednesday, as we're having this conversation, that was an abbreviated one. So when you're, as Jim Leyland would always say, and we know Jim Leyland well, of course, he always says your bullpen works when you're using it when you want to as opposed to when you have to.
God, I love that.
And Aaron Boone lately has been using the bullpen a lot when he has to, as opposed to, wow, I love this matchup. I want to get him into the game now. It's, oh my gosh, my starter's out of the game and I've got to bridge now 4 innings. How do I do this math right now with the guys I've got? That's where it's at. I just think this team, and maybe Gary and Jake, what concerns me a bit here is bullpens should get better a little bit. If it's a fixable situation, sometimes just the fatigue of the first half accrues a little bit. You step away for the All-Star break and you come back and you're a little better. It really hasn't gotten better. This doesn't seem like it's a situation where just getting a little more rest will fix things. So I'm a little worried about where the bullpen is. The good news is
Makes three of us.
Right. There you go.
Yes.
The good news is there are plenty of teams who will trade you a reliever right now. That is the market dynamic. The Guardians are an example of a team like that. Again, we've talked about the Royals a bit. The Twins. There are some players out there that I think would help the Yankees. It's now just a question of cost. And believe me, every other GM, the other 29, they watch all the same games that we're talking about, and they know how panicked, to use a strong word, the situation is becoming with the New York Yankees. So they know that from a leverage standpoint, Cashman doesn't exactly have a lot of it. And so I'll be curious to see if some teams might even go the buy and sell route, a team that's on the bubble, maybe like the Angels or a team like the Padres. Padres have a great bullpen. To think about where they might be able to go. Maybe they're looking for a piece here to add, but they can also trade someone. For example, the Padres, they've basically got two leverage closers in Adam and Suarez. Maybe you trade one of the two of them. So I think you're going to see a very creative deadline, which makes it fun for all of us to talk about, where you've got some teams that don't neatly fit into the buy-sell bucket, and you're just hearing about more baseball trades, which I think actually makes for a very, very fun, entertaining deadline.